Are you thinking about coming to the Lake of the Ozarks this summer, but you don't have a boat? I have got the solution for you, and I'm going to go talk to them about their business where you can rent a boat from Breakaway Boat Rentals. So let's go talk to Steven and Jennifer and learn more about where you need to rent your next boat. Okay, I am here with Steven and Jennifer Benefield. Thank you guys for having me here on one of your rental boats. So as I mentioned, Lake of the Ozarks is becoming incredibly popular. And so people come down here, and I've always joked over the years, like, why would you come here if you don't own a boat? Because it's like you get here and you just stare at this beautiful lake with boats going back and forth. And up until recent years, there's not a lot to do off the lake. Now there is a lot, and you know this because you watch our channel. Mm-hmm. But if you need a boat, you guys are it.
We are.
Awesome.
We are it.
So Breakaway Boat Rentals, you're based out of Osage Beach. Boat rental business. What in the hell caused you to get into this?
We love the lake.
Do you want to start?
Well, I thought he was
crazy. Of course, ladies first.
Ladies first.
I thought he was crazy when he proposed this thing that he wanted to do.
She did. It caused a couple arguments.
A couple.
Sounds like a true marriage right there.
It was good, yeah.
But now here we are doing this thing, and I'm all in, and we are having the time of our life.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about your background. You didn't born and raised here. You just recently moved here a few years ago. Military background, super important, I think, to understand. So tell us, what have you done up until now, and then tell us the story about where this came from.
Okay, so I love fishing. I'm an avid fisherman. And my dad I grew up in St. Charles, Missouri, and my dad used to always take me fishing here, and I grew to love the Lake of the Ozarks. Well, I entered the Navy in 1994, and trying to get some kind of direction in my life, and I ended up staying in the Navy for 28 years. I started off as a boatswain mate, and that's kind of like a deckhand on a ship, and then I ended up becoming a chaplain. And
wait. What the hell kind of segue is that?
I know. Well, 3/4 of my career was chaplain. A quarter of it was boatswain mate.
Got it. What's it called? A boatswain mate?
Boatswain's mate.
Boats.
With a W.
With a W. Boatswain's mate.
I've never heard that before.
Yes.
Okay.
He paints the ship and he chips the paint.
It's the oldest rate in the Navy.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
So I didn't know what I was going to do after the Navy, but both of us knew we wanted to live on a lake, and so we chose the Lake of the Ozarks because it had a special place in our hearts.
Because it's the greatest lake on the planet, duh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So here we are, and we're loving life.
That's awesome.
We're living our best lives right now.
Yeah.
As empty nesters too.
Oh.
Yes.
Even better. Okay, so you have kids? How many kids?
We do. We have 2.
Okay.
And 3 grandchildren.
Oh gosh, you're not old enough for that.
Thank you. Thanks, Jeff.
I appreciate that.
Well, So, okay, the obvious segue, Navy to boat rental company. I mean, that just seems appropriate.
Yeah, right.
So you were on big ass ships, I assume.
I was on some big ships, not her, but
like aircraft carrier, battleships. What kind of ships were you on?
Yep. So I was on, my most special ship was the Blue Ridge out of Yokosuka, Japan. We lived 10 years in Japan, and then we came back to the United States. I was on the Theodore Roosevelt, and I was also with Deseron 23, which a Deseron is a destroyer squadron, and we were in charge of 4 different destroyers.
Really?
Or it might have been more than that, 6 different destroyers, I think. But most of my time, believe it or not, I mean, I love the Navy and everything, but I love the Marine Corps more.
Really?
Yeah. We spent most of our time with Marines, and that's our family.
So you shifted from Navy to Marines, or as a chaplain?
As a chaplain,
diverse?
like docks, corpsmen, chaplains, the Marine Corps don't have that. So the Navy provides that for them. So most of my time was spent with Marines.
Really? Cool.
Yeah.
What inspires or causes someone to become a chaplain? Like I don't, and this is complete ignorance talking. I'm a Lutheran boy with 3 pastors in my family. So I think chaplain, I think, preacher.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's ignorance, right? I don't
Yeah.
know. So what inspired something like that?
You want me to say it?
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, my life was a wreck.
Okay.
It was an absolute wreck. And this was when I was enlisted as a boatswain mate. And my wife had started going to church. And I told her, Jennifer, I'm not going to start going to church with you. And she got me to start going to church with her. And it wasn't probably about 4 months later that God zapped me and changed my life.
Wow, cool.
And that put me on a different path,
Yeah.
to pursue full-time ministry. And I didn't know what I was going to do in the ministry. And then I was going to Bible college in Springfield, Missouri. And a chaplain came my junior year of Bible college, because I was thinking about being a pastor, a missionary or something. Chaplain came and shared his ministry with us, and I went home that day and I said, Jennifer, a chaplain came to our school today. I said, what would you think about me being a chaplain in the Navy? And I thought I didn't think she'd like it.
Really?
And she said, Steve, if that's what God wants, I'd say let's leave tomorrow.
Cool.
So I started pursuing it, and a couple years later I got accepted into the chaplain corps, and that's how it happened.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah.
So how long have you guys been married?
29 years.
Long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you do that when you're only 35?
Yeah.
No.
You get married young.
Well, you
Much
guys
older,
have
much
aged well.
older.
You've aged well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, cool. So it's an incredible story. And so you mentioned you were stationed in Japan. You both are from St. Louis. I know this already, so shout out to St. Louis.
Yep.
And
Shout out to the Cardinals.
that's right. Who
Yes.
suck
We
so
love the
far this year.
Cardinals.
Yeah, so-
But we still love
we
them.
still love them. That's right. We are a diehard community. All right. So where were you stationed when you just had this revelation that this is what we're going to do?
My last tour was in Pennsylvania, and
Pennsylvania in the Navy?
Marines.
Oh,
I was with
Marines,
a.
okay,
But
I
it's
was
still
with a.
weird.
Interesting. Okay.
I was with the Marine Corps district
All right.
and with a recruiting station, and this was my last tour, and I was just thinking, what do I want to do after I get out? Do I just want to retire
Sure.
and just enjoy life, or do I want to go back into business or do something?
Yeah.
So anyway, after getting there stationed in Pennsylvania, I just started doing some research on things that are happening on Lake of the Ozarks, and boat rental businesses seem to be like a good niche for me,
Yeah.
and that's what we decided to do.
Really?
It took a lot of prodding for her, like we said at the beginning.
Yeah,
There were a few back and forths.
Why?
I just thought it was a crazy thing to get involved in. I thought there was nowhere for us to go with it, really.
Sure. Yeah.
I didn't know that we would be successful, but I thought if anybody could do it
They
and
can
make
do
it
it, yeah.
make it successful,
Sure.
Steve could do it, and I wanted to support him in that.
Really? So what was your familiarity with the Lake of the Ozarks? I mean, St. Louisans obviously, but did you come down here a lot as when you were younger, or?
Yeah.
He did. I did not.
Okay, so
I
this was
grew
new
up
to
on
you.
the river,
Okay, which river?
Merrimack.
Okay.
Yeah, so this was all new to me. And I have fallen in love with the lake.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I love it.
I
here.
think we say it every time we're, like almost every day, like, I love our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love the lake.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, and you
People
guys
here are
have
amazing.
you probably now learned that the Lake of the Ozarks creates divisiveness amongst Midwesterners because you either really love the lake or you hate the lake. There's very little in between. And it's
true.
I never understood why people just go out of their way to spew hatred at the lake. Because I always tease like table rockers. I'm teasing you if you're watching this. I'm like, do Lake of the Ozarkers go on Table Rock pages and spew negativity at Table Rock? Probably not, because we don't care.
Right.
It's like to each their own. If you like quiet, fine, go be on your lake. If you
Right.
like things to do, but everybody labels this lake as just partying.
Right.
I did actually before I started coming down, and I had a family then, and because my only experiences down here were Party Cove, were just debauchery, and I was like, that's what the lake is, right? And then I came down on the, Camdenton, Big Niagara, and I was like, whoa, like there's this is family friendly too. Like there's so
Absolutely.
much to do here. And yeah, I was sold too. Yeah.
There's so much to do here
Yeah.
for everyone. If you want to party, party.
Yes,
If you
absolutely.
want to bring your family,
Yes.
bring your family.
Yes, yes.
It's a
Literally
beautiful
every.
life.
And if you want quiet, it's so big. We were fishing yesterday on the 80-mile marker. I'd never been up there before. And
Never have been up there either.
quiet and like there's something for everybody, literally. But everybody associates mile marker 0 to mile marker 30, and that's what the lake is.
Yes.
You're missing out on like 75 or 80% of the lake.
Yes.
It's crazy. Okay, cool. So here we are. You decide you convinced her that this was going to happen, and you moved here. You came here several years ago, and you came more recently,
Yes.
right? And so what did that look like? When you decided you were going to do this, you came early to start setting up, or how did that?
Yes. Yeah. Well, he was still in the military, so he was like, why don't you go down, start getting things ready, and then I'll join you.
Yeah, so we spent about 2 years separated. We had never been separated like that in the military.
Really?
I mean, we were.
being on a ship. You were apart.
Yeah, I mean, we spent half our lives apart from each other, but not 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
But she came back here, got things set up, and then I moved here. When was it? December of 22.
22. Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. And so here we are, and the rest is history. And we are sitting on a beautiful rental boat,
We are.
by the way.
Yes.
And one of the things I said when I first walked down here on the dock, which we were at Backwater Jack's, we'll tell you why. I said, this doesn't look like a rental. This has got to be your boat. And your answer was, well, it is when it's not rented, but now I've learned that you guys pretty much only rent like new boats.
We do.
When I drive around the lake and I see a boat rental, it's typically a piece of crap looking.
There's a lot of junk boats out there. I mean, there's some good rentals out there, but there's a lot of junk ones too.
This is nice.
We pride
This is nice.
our boats are nice. We really,
I can tell. I
yeah.
can tell. So do you specifically only do, is it a tri-tune?
It is.
Do you just do tri-tunes?
We just do tri-tunes.
Awesome. Certain brand, does it matter?
We do low tri-tunes.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Are they typically similar layout? And obviously you'll be seeing the B-roll of this boat, but are they typical layouts and are they you have different
so
styles of boats?
all of our boats are Super Sport 270s. They're 27 foot long. They have a capacity of
So
filling
they're
50.
27 foot is what 270 is, yep.
Yeah. So we have a capacity of filling 15 people on this boat. But state of Missouri says we can only have 12. 200 horsepower motors on all of them.
Nice.
And every year we get brand new boats. I trade them in every year. So we're putting a good product on the lake every year.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
200 horse is necessary. It might seem like a lot, it's not. And this, to me, especially for somebody who's not a regular at the lake, this is the type of boat you need to be driving,
Certainly.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
It handles the best, it can handle the wake, it can handle the waves, and it's just comfortable, it's open. You can kind of just see where we're sitting. We're sitting in one little nook of this boat right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a ton of room here. I mean, this is comfortable. This
Yeah.
is a really nice boat. So I guess one of the questions I would have as you were deciding to do this business, did it ever concern you that boating season is limited?
Yeah, we thought about that. But we also took into consideration, I also networked with several different boat rental companies
Down here? Or?
down here before delving into this business to figure out what kind of revenue
Yeah.
they were getting.
And they were open to sharing.
They were.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, we've
We've got a great
group
group
of people.
People that we network with, and
Yeah.
they're great down here. They're
Yeah.
friends.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a testament to the Midwest.
Yes.
People aren't super scarcity. I mean, you can find them, but that's impressive.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, our
so you're going to be
competitors.
competition. Let me give you some information.
Yeah, our
Yeah.
competitors are good friends of ours.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so what's the answer to that? Like, what is season?
Season is usually from Memorial Day weekend
To labor.
until Labor Day weekend.
Sure.
Yeah.
But yet, not true because all of your boats were rented last weekend.
They were.
Which was April.
They were. We were
Right.
trying to do a commercial last
yeah,
weekend.
Yeah.
But
I was gonna
we
say,
couldn't make it
there's a
happen.
little onesies and twosies, if you get a good warm day.
But most of the crowd comes down here around
Of course.
Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so I thought you were going to say the season is whenever it's nice enough to go boating.
That would have been the right answer.
Well, I just gave it to him.
Yeah.
I got more practice doing
Yeah.
this marketing thing.
Yes, you do.
So is that true though? I mean, if we get a 75-degree day in February and somebody's like, you know what, wild hair, let's go rent a boat. Could they?
Well, we've
us,
considered that.
Yeah.
This is only our second year in business. Last year we pulled our boats out
Okay.
around, what was it, November?
Got it.
Beginning of
Yeah.
November.
Got it.
And we didn't get them back until we got new boats, but we didn't get them until a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
But this year we decided to go ahead and get boats earlier, so we got boats this year in April.
Got it.
So now, that way we
Sure.
had them
Yeah.
for these warmer days.
I'm sure this is something that will evolve with time.
Right.
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 Awesome.
Yeah, we're still trying to get a lay of the land.
Yeah. Awesome. And so I mentioned you're based out of Osage, but it's not that somebody necessarily comes to one spot to rent. You bring it to them.
We do.
do.
That's one thing that makes us stand apart from the others is we deliver.
Yeah.
And we deliver for free.
Awesome.
As long as it's between the 13 and 26 mile mark.
Okay.
If it's outside of that range, like I deliver to the Gravois Mill.
Gravois Arm, yeah. Mhm.
Isn't that called Gravois Mill?
Gravois Mills is the town.
Yeah,
Right,
that's where we
right.
deliver
Gravois
to.
Arm is kind of the arm of the typically, yeah.
So this was Gravois Mill,
We just did that yesterday.
which was up the really far up the Niangua Arm.
It's up the Gravois Arm, probably.
No.
You went up the Niangua Arm.
We've done
The
both.
Niangua Arm is Camdenton mainly. Maybe a little bit of Sunrise, but
Do you know where the Four Corners are?
yeah, that's 31 mile marker.
Okay.
Okay.
So I took a right there,
Okay, so you went up the main channel. That's up the main channel, Gravois
like
Mills then.
towards Truman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it took me 2 hours to deliver this boat.
Wow, what mile marker? Do you know?
I think we were at like the 45.
Okay, so near maybe Big Dicks or something like
Yeah,
that.
it was close to Big
Okay,
Dicks.
got it. Yep.
For just there's a fee.
But there's a fee.
Got it, for going
If it's
outside,
outside of that 13 to 26 mile marker, we charge a $50 service fee for gas because I deliver the boats on a full tank.
Yeah.
So I got to stop and get gas.
Yep. That's cheap. Only $50
Only $50.
to deliver.
Yes.
Does it matter if somebody said I wanted to rent one in Warsaw?
No, there's a,
We had
You haven't had that one.
I haven't
come
had
up,
that
have
one
you?
yet.
somebody asked, "Do you deliver to
But
Iowa?"
Warsaw would probably be a big no.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
can't do that.
That's a long way.
I'd find them something up there.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. But pretty much if you're wanting, in the majority of your business is going to happen between 0 and probably 45,
Yes.
roughly.
Yep.
Got it. And then probably even down the Niangua and whatnot, because the Niangua is just right off of the 31, which is where I am. You go straight. That's another 15 miles of lake, basically.
Yes. Yep.
Really cool. Awesome. So what have I not asked you that might be super important that somebody might know about renting a boat? Is there any experience that's required? Do they have to show a license of some sort? What?
Yeah, so you have to be, so if you're born before January 1st of 1984, you do not have to have
A boating license.
a boating license. If you're born after January 1st of 1984, there is a boating certification you have to do through the state of Missouri.
Yeah. And that's for renting a boat?
Yes.
Just for driving
Just
a
for
boat?
driving a boat on the water.
Okay.
One of the things that makes us stand out too is that, we do offer discounts. We offer discounts to military veterans, active duty military, all first responders, whether they're fire,
Yep.
police officers, or in the medical field.
Yep.
And then we also offer 10% discount to teachers.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really great. So have you ever had it come up where there was a group of low 30-somethings wanted to rent and they didn't have the license? Like you just have to tell them that, I guess? Or is it easy enough to go get a certification? I'm not
It's
even
easy
sure.
enough.
Is it? I
Yeah,
didn't know.
it's easy
Sure
enough. It's
is.
all online,
Got
and they
it.
can make that
They can get
happen.
it.
Got it. I've got a 15-year-old stepson who just got his last year, but I never really paid any attention to how easy or hard it was.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So have you had that happen, that somebody said, well, you're not born before 84, so you have to get your certification, and did they do it?
Yes,
or-
but not like on the spot. Not like when I'm taking the boat to them. This is
Of
a
course,
conversation
yeah.
that we
That you
have
have
when
in advance,
when
yeah.
the booking takes place, and then I give them the link.
Got
to
it.
take
To
care
go
of it.
do all the stuff. That's
Yes.
cool, man. That's really awesome. So that's even almost an additional perk, basically, and you're helping guide them, and then they can now do this every year,
Yeah.
or multiple times a year.
Exactly.
Hopefully multiple times. a year.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Cool. So, again, based out of Osage, is we're doing this recording in the beginning of May. It'll come out towards the latter part of May. So we're going to be getting hot and heavy. And, I think a lot of people probably already have the plans made for probably Memorial Day and a little bit thereafter. But, say somebody's coming down late June, July, August. How do they lock it down?
You can call us directly, and you can also book directly online.
Okay. And what's the phone number?
So the phone number is 573-746-9090.
Okay.
And the website is www.breakawayboatrentals.com.
Breakawayboatrentals.com.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yep. And you can always go to our Facebook page. We have a Facebook page as well.
Called Breakaway Boat Rentals, I assume?
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Perfect. All right. And so, again, we are at Backwater because it's one of the places you would deliver to.
Yes, and it's very close to home. And actually, a big shout out to Backwater. It's our favorite place on the lake.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think we know almost all the bartenders here, the servers. We know the bands that come in here.
Nice.
We love coming here.
I mean, after all, you all are empty nesters.
We are.
So, are you guys hanging out in this pool and when it's
We
loaded,
do.
shoulder to shoulder?
We hang out here a lot.
Okay, so when somebody wants to rent, do they get it all day? Can you rent it by the hour? How does that work?
Okay, so we do 4-hour and 8-hour rentals. We also do multi-day rentals. During season, from Memorial Day to Labor Day, on Fridays and Saturdays, we only do 8-hour rentals.
Okay.
So on the multi-day rentals, we also offer free lily pad and tubes.
Ooh.
If it's 2 days or more.
Nice.
Yeah. If it's an 8-hour rental or a 4-hour rental, we charge separately for those accessories.
Okay, that's cool though. So you
Yeah.
can rent that stuff.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you deliver it with a full tank of gas.
Yeah.
Obviously, I assume if they're renting a tube, is that you're blowing it up for them and it's all ready to go?
Yeah.
Ropes?
It's
the
ready to
whole-
go.
All ready to go.
All ready to go.
Awesome. Do you ever do people need instructions and all that kind of stuff, or how do you handle
Yeah,
that?
every time somebody comes on the boat, I give them a safety brief.
Nice.
So I give the whole crowd a safety brief, and
Life jackets. Do you guys provide life jackets?
we do provide life jackets. And we have life jackets from infants until
Nice.
until
So
adult.
is every boat stocked with that, or do you cater it to the rental?
Well, every boat comes with 12 life jackets.
Because you have to have the same
You have to
number,
have
at least
that.
that number. Yep.
Yes, because that's the maximum we can hold on
Yep.
the boat. But when I'm talking to the customer in the booking, or when they're making the booking online, they could go through some questions, like, do you have any kids that are 8 or younger
Yeah.
on there?
Got it.
And then we need the weights
Yep.
of those children, so I know how many life jackets to bring
That's
and
super
what
important.
size to bring.
It's
Yeah.
incredibly important, especially when you're talking about boating safety, and then when you're talking about this lake, which it gets a bad rap for being dangerous. I always say danger is in how you operate a boat. It's only as dangerous as you let it be.
Yes.
And if you're a safe boater, yes, there's fast boats, yes, there's big boats, but if you know what you're doing and you take precaution,
Right.
it's not that dangerous.
Right.
Correct.
I've never, ever felt even close to threatened
Correct.
on a boat, and I've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
So speaking of safety, you had mentioned that off camera that the boats also all come equipped with what safety measures?
We have the fire extinguishers as well as first aid kits, and then of course the life jackets.
Yeah, we have life jackets. We have an anchor with 100 foot of line. We also have a battery pack for our boats. So if they're coving out somewhere and they're listening to the radio all day and the battery's dead,
Yeah.
the battery pack will jump them right away.
Underrated. Nice.
Yes.
Smart.
It-
And if you don't boat, you don't know this.
No, you don't. You have to call Towboat USA and you spend
Yeah.
$300.
Yeah.
Well,
X-Tow,
you can-
actually. X-Tow.
Don't put
They're
that.
the local ones.
I don't want to
No, that's
badmouth.
okay.
I don't want to badmouth Towboat USA.
No, they're just national.
Yeah.
I've done some promo with X-Tow, and now that you're gonna now you're gonna force me to plug it, but they're local. They're local, and it's effectively the same thing. But
Yeah.
when you call Towboat USA, and this is again, I only know this because I've interviewed them. You go national, probably somebody in India, and then
Right.
there's a wait while they connect you with it. They're all using the same towboat companies, but X-Tow knows the lake. It's just different. So, anyways,
Yeah.
I use X-Tow. That's why.
So we had a couple boats last year that the battery died. and we had to call Towboat USA, and I
Nice.
said, this isn't going to happen every
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
So we started putting battery packs on all our boats.
Got it.
Where they can jump in
And we
immediately.
never want it to happen to a guest when
Yeah.
we're out on one of our boats. So,
Yeah, absolutely. That's a scary experience.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's good to know. I mean, I think if I was a renter, I'd want to know that you guys cover them. That's awesome to know.
Yeah. And we also have under this seat, we put in 12 noodles on each boat.
Oh, nice.
Flotation
Okay,
devices.
yeah.
So
It's
they have
important.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then of course buoys, I assume. So when if you're gonna, that's ballsy. But if you're going to go to a bar and try to park it in one of these slips, which takes practice,
It does.
That's a
Well,
skill.
and some
Yes.
skill.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Yes.
Not to mention you have an audience, which
Yes.
makes it even more
Yes.
daunting. Right
Yes.
there. Yep, I love it. Okay, cool. So once again, if somebody is watching this and they say to themselves, honey, we need to connect because we got to get a boat rented, call, website, give us a phone number one more time.
Yep. 573-746-9090. And you can also visit our website at www.breakawayboatrentals.com.
We're on Facebook, Breakaway Boat
Or
Rentals.
Facebook.
Yep.
Yep.
Awesome. Guys, it's been a pleasure.
Thank
It's been
you
fun.
so
Jeff,
much.
thank you so much for coming out.
bet.
Really nice to meet you.
Yeah, likewise.
Yep.